An exclusive Betfred League One action here on the Sportsman. The Dewsbury Rams have made the journey over to Workington Town, and Paul, two teams, when you look at the league table, when it's blank at the beginning of the season, you pick these two out and think they'll be there or thereabouts at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of them have come down from the Championship last year, unfortunately both relegated. Workington in a little bit of a rebuild. Dewsbury are really going for it. They've got some quality players. They'll get into this game as favourites, no doubt. However, both of them are 100% for the season. One game Workington have won, and 2 games that Dewsbury have already won. Yeah,
it's been a kind of stop-start season so far for the host. Dewsbury coming into this absolutely flying in terms of confidence. 4 wins from 4 across league and cup. Do you expect them to just be a little bit sharper, a little bit fresher for that?
Well, they look a little bit bigger to me. I've just been over and seen a couple of the players that I know really well. Paul Sykes, Dale Ferguson looks in great shape. They look a really big team. As I said, Workington are in a little bit of a rebuild. Got some local players that have come in from the amateur game. You expect Dewsbury to have too much, but you never quite know when you come here. You know, the crowds are a really strong crowd, a really passionate crowd. They can get on the back of the away team. The home team always jump off the back of that and play really well. So it promises to be a fascinating game. And these are 2 of the teams you would think at the end of the season will be there or thereabouts when it comes to promotion back to the Championship.
Yeah, a tricky test this for the early pace setters, Dewsbury. Let's get the views from both head coaches. Anthony, back on your home patch. It's been a bit of a stop-start kind of beginning to the Betfred League One campaign for you. Does this almost feel like the start of the season in earnest now?
Well, it's our first league game into at home, so it does probably start today. But you just got to deal with the stop-start season, haven't you? And we had a good game last week down in Doncaster, and hopefully try and back up that performance today.
Obviously, the performance you said was good. The result difficult to take. Was it hard to pick your boys up after that defeat in the cup last week?
No, obviously they were sort of disappointed after the game and that. But when you sort of sit back a little bit after and think about it and reflect on it, what a performance. Doncaster in the top 2 to sort of win this competition this season, and we've gone to Doncaster and we were leading twice, and really unfortunate at the end. I think if our game management had been a little bit better on that last play, then we've come away with a victory. But you take the positives out of it and obviously learn from some of the negatives. And the boys are fine. They was just happy with the performance really.
Coming up against a Dewsbury side that will be high on confidence, unbeaten in the league and cup, of course. What are you expecting from your opposition today? A
real big physical team who are going to be really well organised by a really good coach, and we've got to make sure we're at our best today to make sure we compete with them physically. And if we do that, then we'll put ourselves in contention to get something out of the game. We've been playing well too. We've had a really good run at London, a good win against Rosebridge, real good performance against Doncaster. So I'd like to think we're coming into the game with a bit of confidence. But we also do know and appreciate the challenge that's in front of us today. It's going to be a really well organised Dewsbury outfit, and we just got to make sure we're at our best and concentrate on the areas that we need to do to make sure that we're competitive and put ourselves in that place where potentially we could get something out of the game.
And I know we are in Cumbria, it could change any minute, but as it stands, the conditions are not giving either side any excuses, are they?
No, definitely not. Just make sure you bring all your thermals and all weather things for this up in Cumbria. But no, today the sun's shining, let's hope it stays.
Well, you've had a strong start to the season. Confidence must be really high coming into this one.
Yeah, we're building confidence. Obviously it steps up a level today. We're aware of the challenge coming up here. Always a tough trip. We always enjoy coming up here as a club and seeing what the Cumbrian boys have got to offer. We're under no illusions that today is going to be our toughest challenge so far.
There was always going to be an element of a rebuilding process coming back down into this league, but are you confident? Are you happy with the start and the signs that you're seeing from your team so far?
Yeah, we're happy with where we're at. We know we can improve. Lads are saying all the right things and doing the right things in training. Obviously, like every other team, the week before last we had a disrupted week with the weather, so it was good to get back on the training field 3 times this week and try and put some bits in to keep ourselves improving. But yeah, that's what it's about for us, keeping improving week in, week out as much as we can.
And when you look at the league table at the beginning of the season when everyone's on 0, these are 2 of the teams that you would expect to be there or thereabouts at the end of the year. Are you expecting a real step up in test and challenge to what you've had so far?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's always loads of talent in Cumbria, and when they get the local lads in playing for the shirt, they're even harder to beat up here, and they usually have their own unique style of Cumbria rugby, which is another challenge. They've got a good coach who's experienced at this level, and he's a good bloke who'll get the best out of him. So we know, like I said earlier, that this goes up a level from anything we've faced already this season, and the lads are aware of that, and now it's about us getting off the bus today and getting out of the blocks.
That said, the start you've made, the conditions, the pitch looks immaculate. All the shackles should be off for your side today, shouldn't they?
Yeah, the pitch it looks amazing, doesn't it, for March time? Do a really good job at this ground. The last few times I've been up, it's been a really good playing surface, and we're blessed with a half decent weather today. So hopefully that'll make for a good game. Both teams like to play a fair bit of rugby, so it should be an entertaining game for your cameras, hopefully.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, it's our privilege to have you with us for this Betfred League One clash here on the Sportsman. We're at Derwent Park for Workington Town versus the Dewsbury Rams. I'm Lewis Smith, alongside me Paul Cook. Paul, what a game we've got on our hands here. Two teams, of course, that dropped down into this division from last season. Two teams looking to make a statement at this early stage of the year.
Yeah, absolutely, and both 100% in the league, and Workington will be really disappointed with the result that they got last weekend. I watched the highlights of one of my old teams, Doncaster. They was winning the game really comfortably before they got pegged back in the last minute, and I know, speaking to Anthony Murray earlier, just personally off camera, really disappointed with the way his side ended the game, the last couple of plays on last tackle that let Doncaster back in, really. But yeah, both teams are really going to look to make a statement here, and both teams looking to get back into the championship.
Well, let's have a run through your lineups this afternoon then, starting off with the home team, Workington Town. They start with Jordan Burns at full-back, Ethan Bickerdike, Jason Mossop, Earl Hurst and Sean Sabuti make up the three-quarter line. Kieran Walker and Jack Mullinson are the half-back pairing. Jordan Thompson, Matty Henson and JJ Key in the front row, with Kane Barnes, Jack Stevenson and Stephen Scoley completing the forward pack for the hosts. On the interchange bench, Fergus Simpson, Liam McNicholas, Joseph Kirkup and Grant Reid complete the 17 for Workington Town this afternoon. And the interesting thing, when you look at that, Paul, plenty of local talent in there.
Yep.
As we now turn our attention to the Dewsbury Rams, we've got Owen Restall in the #1 jersey for the visitors. Lewis Carr on the wing. He knows where the try line is. Caleb Jordan, Ollie Greensmith and Perry Whiteley complete the back line with Paul Sykes and Callum Turner in the halves. Jimmy Beckett, Reece Butterworth and Ronan Dixon are the front row for Dewsbury this afternoon, with Matt Garside, Brad Graham, Connor Davies completing the forward pack. On the interchange bench for Dewsbury, Sam Day, Elliot Morris, Dale Ferguson, Scotland captain of course, and Jackson Walker on the bench for Dewsbury this afternoon. So those are the teams, Paul, and plenty of familiar names in there.
Yeah.
All set to be a cracker, this, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Dale Ferguson, obviously the real experience off the bench there, the Scotland captain, as you mentioned there, Lewis. Paul Sykes in the halves. I think he's my age. I've spoken to him pre-game as well. I'm not sure why he's still running around. He's not far off finishing, he tells me, but he says that every year to me. These are a really big side, Dewsbury, so Workington are going to have it all on in the middle of the field to try and stop the big players of Dewsbury rolling forward. Greensmith's as good as a front row playing in the centres, so yeah, it's going to be a really tough battle for Workington Town. And as you said, lots of local players having dropped down from the championship last year. They've gone local, they've gone to get players in and try and rebuild this club to get back in the championship again.
Yeah, it's the temperature has just dropped in the last half hour or so here as the cloud cover comes in, but it is perfectly dry. A little bit of wind around, but not too much here in West Cumbria. Teams just finishing off their preparations and heading back in to the stands. It's still very early on in the season, Paul, but
yeah,
for both of these teams, 2 points on the board today and a win against their name in this fixture will not only be a confidence booster, but a real message sent out to the rest of the league. Yeah,
it will, and obviously, as you mentioned, pre-game as well, Lewis, the Dewsbury Rams are 4 from 4 in all competitions. 2 really good wins in the league campaign down in London and at home to North Wales. So they've started really, really well, and they'll want to put a statement down here today. They head into the season, I would imagine, as favourites to win back into the championship. They've obviously let a number of players leave the club, having dropped from the championship. They've kept the players that they want, that are experienced players, to try and get them back into the championship. They've added to that really smart coach in Liam Finn, and he goes up against Anthony Murray, who's been at North Wales Crusaders for 9 years until he's changed back up here to Workington. He loves this place, and he's the man that the board of directors here have put faith in to rebuild the club and bring in them younger players from the amateur game in and around Cumbria, which is a real hotbed.
Yeah, interesting speaking to both coaches before the game. They both said that training's been really disrupted in the last few weeks. The weather, obviously, plenty of snow and frozen ground. And for Workington as well, just that one league fixture so far, a win against London Scholars on the opening day. And then, as we've mentioned, that defeat in the Challenge Cup last week. How tricky is it when you're trying to get consistency at the beginning of the season, but it is very stop-start and disrupted as it has been?
Even more so for both of these teams, isn't it? Because they have dropped down from the Championship, so they've had a number of, ins and outs at the club with regards to player retention, let players go, bringing in new players and recruiting new players. So it would have been imperative, really, that, and I'm sure both coaches will be disappointed, that they would have wanted every minute possible on the training field, without the weather disruptions. So what they are is they're both in probably the same boat. Everybody's had that snow cover and everybody's had them frozen grounds. So it's affected the Dewsbury Rams as much as it will have done the Workington Town team. And
obviously both of these sides did it tough at the bottom end of the Betfred Championship last season. They say, winning and losing is a habit. How important is it for both of these teams, given what happened last year, that they get into that winning habit and do it early?
Absolutely, 100%, and exactly what you say. Both teams will have made a positive start, and I say positive even for Workington, because I thought they should have won that game last week. I've watched the last 10 minutes of the game, and they basically handed it back on a plate to Doncaster. So. And they're in that league as well with them. They're at home to North Wales today, the Doncaster team. So for Dewsbury 4 from 4, they are probably riding a little bit higher in terms of confidence, and they'll come here with high hopes of leaving here with 2 competition points and putting a statement down to this club, the hosts, and the rest of the League One teams.
Well, kick-off fast approaching here on the Sportsman. A really healthy crowd gathering at Derwent Park. Plenty of Dewsbury Rams fans have made the trip over as well. We bought you a classic last weekend from the Challenge Cup. Let's hope we get another one today. So kick-off moments away here as we await the two sides to come out in this Betfred League One tie. And it's even at this level of the game, we as fans and pundits and commentators, we established the favourites early on in the season. These two would be right amongst it. Does that come with a certain element of pressure in these games?
Of course, absolutely. You're there to be shot at, aren't you, by every other team in the competition, and particularly for the Dewsbury Rams, who are probably the favourites to reclaim a place back in the Championship. What it is for them is it's a free shot for lots of the other teams in League One, where they're not expected to get much. This is a really difficult place to come. No matter who is the visiting team, it's a really tough place to come. So the Dewsbury Rams are going to have to start the game really well, and then they're going to have to continue and hope that their experience, particularly Paul Sykes in the halves, Count Turner, they're going to have to play really well to get over the top of Workington.
Well, here come the teams. Dewsbury Rams out first, the away side, of course, met to a chorus of boos from the home fans and cheers from a strong travelling Dewsbury contingent. 4 from 4 this season, 2 in the league, 2 in the cup, so confidence will be no short supply for the Yorkshire club in their classic traditional red, amber and black. And as we've mentioned, Paul Sykes needs very little introduction, does he, in the halves, already barking his instructions out to his team, organising, using all of that experience. And here come the home side. Fantastic noise as they come out of the tunnel onto the pitch here at Derwent Park. As you've mentioned, Paul, a really tough place to come, not just because of the long journey that most teams have to make, but also because of the atmosphere and the real kind of cauldron that this place can be.
Yeah, the spectators are very vocal, very passionate. They get in and amongst it and support their club. There's a number of them on the opposite side from where we are here, Lewis. And there's an healthy contingent underneath of Dewsbury supporters that have made the trip too, but also the Workington Town fans are beneath our feet as well in the commentary position. It should be a real crack at this one, because if Dewsbury are half off here, then Workington will get them, as we've both mentioned. Lots of teams have come here, whether it's international teams or whether it's visiting teams to Workington Town, and have left here with a tail between the legs because they've turned up with a poor attitude to win the game.
Well, this should be an absolute cracker. Early days, of course, in the Betfred League One season, but this game already feels like it has all of the ingredients to be a real classic, to get this season up and running. It's going to be Jordan Burns with the kicking tee in his hand who will get us underway here Workington running left to right on your screen in their traditional white and blue kit with the blue socks. And the referee just takes a pause, sets his watch. And we're good to go. Underway at Derwent Park. Dewsbury will get first look at the football, and it's a tricky kick straight away, but Sykes gets there.
Yeah, he did really well to catch it, didn't he? It looked like it was going to hold up there, didn't it? And he got himself underneath the ball, Paul Sykes, for the first carry of the game.
So it's Reece Butterworth out of dummy half and an early carry for Dewsbury as they look to see what they can do. Reasonable field position from that kickoff, as you say, held up in the wind. It's given them a platform and an early penalty for a high shot.
He's fell down, but it's still high. Simple as.
He slipped, didn't he? He slipped, didn't he, into Jack Stevenson. No real excuse, though, is he? He's gone over the top and he's caught Davis, hasn't he? Let's have a look. Yeah, he slips into it. It's really difficult for Jack Stevenson because he set himself, hasn't he, to make contact in a different position to where the Dewsbury attacker fell into.
Nothing malicious from Stevenson, but a fantastic platform for the Dewsbury Rams early on as Oliver Greensmith takes it in from the penalty. Reece Butterworth out of dummy half, and immediately they look to shift to the right, getting it through the hands. They've got Sykes loitering on the left-hand side of the ball. His half-back partner, Cannell Turner, looking after that left edge, and it's the right that they go to with Sykes. He brings it back inside to Garside.
Some experience from Matt Garside, isn't there, as well? Championship player for a long time.
And a great opportunity for Dewsbury from the very start. Find themselves just 3 or 4 metres out from that Workington line. A real test for the defence straight away as Turner now shapes to the left-hand side. They've stacked the half-backs. They're going to be in the corner.
Yeah, he's got it down.
And it's Perry Whiteley who opens the scoring. And exactly what Workington Town didn't want to happen. And a perfect start to the trip for Dewsbury.
Well, you said it, Lewis, they stacked all the half-backs, hadn't they? And the full-back came as well. So you got Callum Turner on that first pass off Butterworth. Then he just hands it on to Paul Sykes. Finds the full-back out the back. And then it's a face pass across the front of Oliver Greensmith to Perry Whiteley, who finishes in the corner. Just enough room, wasn't there? Look here, just Turner onto Sykes. Yeah, it's great football, isn't it?
It's a fantastic pass from Restall, the fullback, who's come into the back line, acting as that extra pivot, and it's such a weapon to have in your arsenal, isn't it? When you have that kind of modern type of fullback that can come in and is almost like an extra halfback with his hand with.
Well, he is just that. He is just that extra halfback, isn't he? And just enough room. It was a great pass, as you said, from the fullback, who's playing as that extra halfback on the long side of the field. Perry Whiteley, just enough strength, just enough space to get the ball down in the corner, and leaves his experienced half, Paul Sykes, a kick from the wrong side of the field, almost on the sideline, so it couldn't be any more difficult with first shot for Paul.
Over 1,000 career goals, Paul Sykes. It's some statistic that represented Great Britain in 2007. A few England caps to his name as well at a similar time period. But it's Betfred League One for him now, and a shot at goal to give his side an early 6-point advantage here at Derwent Park. It's just holding up in the wind. Which side of the post will it go? Just to the left.
Yeah, it was really unlucky, wasn't it? 'Cause it almost goes over the top of that inside post.
It was wobbling a bit in the wind.
Not a bad contact, though, and as a kicker, all you want to do is try and kick the ball where you want it. But as we say here, Turner, Sykes, full back round, and super play, isn't it, from Dewsbury?
So Workington will get us back underway. Jordan Burns with the kick-off, and they'll be hoping to have a better defensive set. Fantastic take from the kick-off. A little bit better field position from a Workington perspective, and they get stuck in and drive that Dewsbury line right back into their own 10, so a much better defensive start for Workington Town. Butterworth just having a little dig from dummy half, but again met by a keen Workington defensive line. They'll be keen to avoid the mistakes they made in that opening set by giving away cheap territory with a penalty. And again, the line speed's good.
It's a good start to the set, isn't it? That's 3 inside the 20 there, Lewis. It's a really good kick-off and good start from Workington Town.
Dewsbury bringing it forward. James Beckett making the carry there. He brings it up over the 30-metre line. They've still got a couple tackles in hands, but at the moment, Workington will be pretty pleased with where they've got them. So now they breach the 40 eventually, and that will be 5th and last. So opportunity to see what Dewsbury's fifth tackle option is like from inside their own half.
Giving away a penalty.
And they've given away a penalty.
It's a cardinal sin, isn't it, in the game? I think he's got him for moving off the mark or holding on to one of the Workington Town players. Or he's got him for mouthing, hasn't he? Even worse. I mean,
oh, it's a coach killer, isn't it?
No, it's not only. It's a finable offence in rugby league, isn't it? When you're in possession of football, there's no way on the planet you should be giving it away. And then to rub salt into the wound, it's for back chat to the referee. And
it's a decent kick as well. It's a great field position for Workington as they look to hit back straight away. The pass was just slightly behind Jordan Thompson, but he did well to bring it in. And his team will set up about 18 metres away from that Dewsbury line. They come to the right-hand side. Burns cutting into the line from fullback. He makes it just short of the 10. Nathan Mossop is at acting half. And he chooses to keep the ball in his own hands and has a go. And it's not a bad effort. He'll take this right up to the line, just a metre or so short. And now Matthew Henson from dummy half brings the ball out to the left-hand side. And there's numbers here. Oh, it's just knocked down. And it's going to come back as a Workington ball. It was knocked down by a Dewsbury hand. And a really good platform here for Town to hit back after that disastrous start.
It's really unfortunate, isn't it? Because they've got great shape there. And it's Jordan Burns who gets the pass. And if he can find that pass, it's very similar to the pass that the fullback from Dewsbury made in the opening try for Perry Whiteley, wasn't it? Really similar, that 3v2 on the edge. And just unfortunately, Jordan Burns couldn't get his hands in position quick enough to fire the pass either to the centre or the winger on his outside. But you're right, midfield scrum, really important here for Dewsbury to defend it. Or what?
Burns on that left-hand side again that they go to. Earl Hurst making himself a real nuisance. Former North Wales Crusader. And now they swing it back the other way. The defence is good from Dewsbury. Really good line speed early on in this game. Jordan Thompson stopped 10 minutes short of the line. A pass again. He's just a little bit behind Kieran Walker. Just had to check his run a little bit. And the yards are limited. Workington again coming to the right. The kick comes through. Not Perry Whiteley's there to knock that dead. That's Jack Mallinson. Really clever kick from the half.
It is. It's got to stay in, hasn't it? On play 3 only. So if he does kick that ball dead, it's a 7-tackle restart. And I can imagine Anthony Murray going off his head in the stands there. But it's a really nice kick, isn't it, from Harrison? And Perry Whiteley has to knock it dead. This will be the 3rd consecutive set now for Dewsbury to defend. And as you said, really nice position for Workington to be attacking from.
And of course, they'd love some points, Workington, but this is the perfect response, isn't it, to such a bad start, conceding before they'd even managed to touch the football themselves. They've got themselves back in the game, in the arm wrestle. They've forced a couple of repeat sets, and now they go again, looking to restore parity on the scoreboard. So they come over to the left-hand side. Stephen Scoley carrying it up over the 20-metre line. Matthew Henson at half comes out to the left. Kieran Walker in the 6 jersey. Just a short ball. What can Workington do from 8 metres out? Jordan Thompson again, really strong carry, just couldn't quite get that arm free to get himself over the line, but he's given his team the best territory in the world, and they've gone from dummy half. The Workington players think they've scored.
He's got him
but
short.
They react quickly, go again.
It's going to go dead, is it?
It's Earl Hurst who puts the kick through. And a missed opportunity, you feel, there for Workington.
Yeah, almost, wasn't it? Almost from dummy half, and the kick at the end of it just rolling dead. It's them fine margins, isn't it, that we spoke about pre-game and what cost them in the Challenge Cup game last weekend against Doncaster. So
and look
7
at this
tackles,
from Dewsbury. Straight back up in that field position up to the halfway line. They'll be really pleased with the way they defended out those repeat sets. And now they're off themselves, looking to set their stall out at the other end of the field. Turner on that right-hand side. Little drop-off pass. Still a couple of tackles in the set for Dewsbury. They've already been successful with their first foray into the Workington Town half. What can they do with this one? Matt Garside. 3 defenders to bring him down, but they've managed to slow the play down. It's a slow ruck. Now they come out to Sykes and almost through, but I think it's Earl Hurst who's made a really important tackle, shoulder and all in. And now they shape to the right-hand side with Batterside. Garside looking to just poke his nose in front.
But it's a really nice end, isn't it? The 7 tackles has got them right into the corner, and it's the perfect reply, isn't it, to defending 3 back-to-back sets from the Dewsbury Rams. Got right down the field, and Garside can't find a pass, but certainly didn't panic when he couldn't find that pass or kick. He just chooses to hand the ball over in the corner, and now it's really tough for the Town team to get out.
Jordan Thompson brings them up over their own 10. An important yardage set, just to, as we say, get themselves back in that arm wrestle, but they come wide early on. Jack Stevenson wrapped up by the Dewsbury defence, 13 or so metres from his own line. Nathan Mosser, all the experience you'd want, isn't he, Nathan Mosser?
Yeah, very
15
good,
or so years
yeah,
in the Championship.
Absolutely.
Back at Workington after a spell with Hunslet. And they'll kick the ball from well inside their own half, from their own 40-metre line.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, looks like the kick just took a little deflection on the way through. And Restall will pick it up at full-back, and again, Dewsbury starting the set in good field position.
Yeah, really nice, wasn't it? The defensive set was a good one. It forces Town to kick from inside their own 30. They return it to the halfway, and you would imagine between Turner and Sykes here in this set, we'll find an attacking kick at the end of it.
And Oliver Greensmith and Perry Whiteley are doing a lot of work on this left edge, making big metres, the centre and wing pairing, but there's a big error. And it's James Beckett.
Yeah, it's a poor one, isn't it? Because they're in really nice field position. The Greensmith carry gets some good inroads, doesn't it, into the right edge of Town, and then drops the ball off, and there's no real excuses. The big front row just took his eyes off the football and really disappointed with himself. Turns it over on the opposition 30-metre line, and it's get out of jail free a little bit, isn't it, for the Town team?
Yeah, it's a let-off for Workington, who will now look to try and make inroads into the Dewsbury half. They're up to their own 35-metre line. Now they come out to the left.
It's Callum Turner injured, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just making his way back a little bit gingerly. Workington bringing up the middle over the halfway line. Comes Jordan Thompson. And even from this kind of field position, it just feels like completion is the key here, although they nearly had the nose poke through there for Kieran Walker.
They've made good ground in the full set here, haven't they? And turns it back inside Steve Scorley this time, carrying the football and making some really nice metres, the home team. The end of set that I'm sure Anthony Walker will want to be better.
It's 35 metres out or so that the kick will come from. It goes high up, wobbling around in the air. A really good take in the end from Restall, but he's wrapped up by the Workington defence, so that's a good end of set.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's everything that the coach will want, isn't it? Just to get to the end of sets and try and put numbers into the tackle to stop this Dewsbury Rams big forward pack and outside backs making metres. Greensmith again, though, he's having a field day, isn't he? And taking some real handling on this right edge for the Town.
Yeah, it's almost like having an extra pair of forwards, isn't it? Him and Whiteley out on that left edge, and that's good metres as well for the Rams. So Butterworth plays it from acting half out to Turner. They've made it up to the halfway line, just short. As we come into the 5th tackle, I think this one will be airmailed as well. Yeah, nice and high, plenty to think about, but he does well in the end. Does Jordan Burns at fullback, and Workington will start on their own 30-metre line.
It's a real battle, isn't it? It's a real battle between both the teams, and only that penalty in the very first set where they get him, Connor Davies, high and the kick down the field and have some good field position. Barring that, this game is well in the balance.
Yeah, really good arm wrestle here in Betfred League One. Workington Town versus the Dewsbury Rams. Just joining us, Dewsbury off to the perfect start, scoring in the opening few minutes. But since then, it's been very even Stevens. Both teams getting into the arm wrestle. And it's Workington Town in possession as Matty Henson plays it from dummy half. Now they look to spread it out to the left. Earl Hurst just wrapped up. Shouts for a high tackle from the home supporters, nothing giving from the referee, and this will be 5th tackle, 35 metres out from the Dewsbury line. A kick goes up high again. Lots of work for the fullbacks early on. Restall does well, and he gets a penalty for his troubles for offside. And he's marched them 10 metres back for dissent again. And look, there's no excuses. The referee set his stall out early.
Yeah, he did do, didn't he? He set his stall out when he penalised the Dewsbury player, and you can see they are just a metre, aren't they, offside? And if you want to have a go at the referee for being a metre offside, if you show him that clip at half-time, Anthony Murray, he'll be having a right go at you as a front rower, because you're in front of the kicker by 1 metre, and if you're back 1 metre, you put Dewsbury in a real difficult position again, because the kick was fantastic again.
Dewsbury Rams starting off with the football inside the Workington half. We saw what happens the last time they were given a cheap penalty. Can they come away with more points? Butterworth.
Good step, Connor Davis, wasn't it? Nice player. Gets himself half through, doesn't he, and takes some pulling down.
Yeah, he's been very busy, hasn't he, early on, Davies? Popping up on both sides of the ruck. Now they come to the right-hand side. Turner to Garside.
Got a chance to get him over, trying to hold him up and get him over.
Dixon is it on that right edge, and now they've set the back line out very wide all the way to the edge here to give themselves that option. They keep it tight.
Well, it's the same play now, isn't it, as what they played in the first minute. Oh, it's play on. They've made an error, hasn't they? Could pass it here.
An opportunity
almost
for Workington here to get out of their own real estate early on in the set.
And Lewis Carr with the error, wasn't it, on last play, and referee gives it Workington Town to play on, and with a pass maybe they could have just gone down the sideline.
That's Sean Sabuti bringing Workington in off their own 20. Big carry again from Thompson. He's been really busy, hasn't he, early on. Some really strong carrying up the middle of the park, making some good yards for his side. Henson comes out of dummy half. Sykes with an industrial tackle, but the referee is happy with it. And now Burns making himself busy up that left-hand side. And again, Kieran Walker is down, just receiving a little bit of treatment.
He's lost his boot, has he? Yeah, just trying to tie his lace, look.
Well, the kick goes up. And Restall continues his perfect afternoon underneath the high ball. He's still down on 1 knee, Kieran Walker, so for the time being, Workington Town essentially down to 12 men. Dewsbury carrying the ball out of their own territory. Harry Whiteley, he's done a lot of work out of yardage, hasn't he? Got the opening try, the only try of the game so far, but then it's been a really strong performance carrying the ball from the left winger, and that's Restall, the fullback. Dewsbury's three-quarter line and outside backs doing a lot of work early on, Paul.
Yeah, they are, particularly Greensmith, who almost gets the ball here now with the offload, and Whiteley another one, and just making real cheap meters on short side plays, playing really well, and it's a knock on from Greensmith, just as we say it. But
well, it was a bit of a messy end to the set. Butterworth put the ball high, but it almost looked as if he didn't want to be the one kicking that. I don't think it was planned.
Jordan Burns and Ollie Greensmith get into a bit of a competition, and Jordan Burns never going to get there. And once Whiteley does catch the ball, Jordan Burns catches him, doesn't he, and takes him to ground. And Ollie Greensmith gingerly, as you said, with Callum Turner gingerly getting back into the defence line on the left edge of Dewsbury.
So Workington back with the football in their hands, just short of the halfway line. So Messi play the ball, but it's okay, and they come out to the left-hand side. Good meters made on that left edge. And the Workington Town crowd getting into it here. Kieran Walker looks to be okay, back on his feet. He gives the ball there to Jordan Thompson. Now they bring it out to the right-hand side. JJ Key. Good carry from Key. 12, 13 metres maybe short of the line on 5th tackle. So an opportunity to put an attacking kick in here. Perry Whiteley does really well to bring the ball down and then make some metres off the back of it. Really good work from the Dewsbury winger.
Super player, wasn't it? Because he puts himself in a position where if the ball goes through on the ground, he can make the play. He puts it himself in a position where if he puts
and it's another penalty being given on the attacking side of the ball.
It's Whiteley and Perry, isn't it? Burns and Whiteley, sorry, who are having a real go.
Yeah, just having a chat. So it's obviously an incident in the ruck. Oh, it's just that little bit of afters there, isn't it? He's looking to get up.
He's thinking he's stolen the ball.
Yeah,
stolen the ball, Jordan Burns, and Whiteley takes exception, and that's the second penalty in possession. It really won't please Coach Liam Finn.
Kieran Walker not afraid to bring the ball up to the line himself, is he? Copped a tough challenge there, but Workington continue to move forwards. Just a few metres short now of that Dewsbury line. What are their options? It's Henson. Oh, he was looking for Thompson. I actually think he's done really well there, the Workington prop, just to keep hold of that ball. Henson now swings it out to the left-hand side. Walker with the ball out to Kane Barnes. And they come back out. Walker again with his hands on the ball. They swing it over to this left-hand side, to this right-hand side. Sorry, Nathan Mossop, the man in the number 4 jersey, being dragged towards the sideline, but he manages to get himself to ground. And again, another good position to be kicking from for Workington. What can they do with this 5th tackle option? Now, what's the referee going to give here? Play on.
Yeah,
Dewsbury survive again.
Yeah, not a great end to the set, is it? The kick just doesn't find the gap, does it? And that's everything that the coach wants from his team, to just be better at the end of sets. It's Jack Mallinson, isn't it, with the kick? It just doesn't go through the line, and Dewsbury play gleefully, drops on the football. And again, a couple of sets that they've had to defend there, they've defended really well, and defended 3 sets early on in this game back to back. So that'll please Liam Finn. What won't please him is continually giving the ball to the home team in really good position for them.
Well, Dewsbury up to the 30-metre line in their response. Butterworth from 9 bringing the ball now to the right.
Now they've got a problem with Dale Ferguson on the field. There we go.
Yeah, Dale Ferguson, one of the, a real kind of eye-catching signing for this Dewsbury team as they come down into League One. Captain Scotland, of course, at the recent World Cup. Burns just lets that kick go behind him, but he regathers and now looks to bring the ball back. Gets up to the 20-metre line before he's dragged down. And Workington with a lot of the field in front of them again as they restart with the football.
Yeah, and one thing you're going to get with Dale Ferguson off the bench is you're going to get some punch at you and some whacking defence. He's going to hit people and he's going to drive them back. That's a knock-on, isn't it?
It is. And Dewsbury with another platform. They'll get the ball 30 metres out from that Workington town line. And
it's Elhurst, wasn't it, with the error? It's just, you've got to just pay attention and take more care, hasn't he? When he's playing the football, he puts it on the foot of Matt Garside, and he's really got to pay attention because they've really got themselves into the game. And as you said, they're in the arm wrestle, they're in the grind of this game, and they can ill afford to allow cheap field position to a Dewsbury Rams team who they've already seen with good execution can score points.
Yeah, after that kind of early chaotic couple of minutes where Dewsbury scored that try, neither team have really been able to assert themselves as dominant, have they?
No, absolutely not. And one thing is for sure, you're not going to see too many long-range efforts because the defences are so good, so you've got to try and keep the opposition away from your try line. And Elhurst has really let the Dewsbury Rams in. Here's Ferguson. It's a good shot underneath, though.
Yeah, they deal with the threat of Ferguson.
Steve Scully, wasn't it? Great player.
Plenty of experience in there as well. Butterworth now to Turner. Turner keeps the ball in his hands. He's cut down just 5-6 metres away from the line. Butterworth shapes to the skinny side, but then comes back out.
It's a wonderful tackle.
It's Connor Davies who was trying to twist his way over the line, but he stopped short. And this is the last. So what can Dewsbury do from here? The ball goes wide. There's numbers here if they use them. Oh, lovely offload.
I think that's going to give it.
And they're going to give they've given the try. It's all happening here. Workington thought they were away at the other end.
He's injured scoring it, hasn't he?
Well, I think it's
Callum Jordan.
Callum Jordan is the one who scored the try and he's hurt himself in the process.
The offload was
wonderful
fantastic.
offload from Lewis Carr, wasn't it?
Absolutely. You think Lewis Carr's all but just going to put the ball over the try line, and one of the best rule changes we've ever had in rugby league for me is the corner post doesn't count. So once he gets airborne here, it's a tough one, isn't it? And even if you slowed that down right now on our screens, you'd find it difficult to say he's scored or not scored. And certainly got injured in the process. He's still down, isn't he?
Well, the Workington defence have done really well, haven't they, to get out to Lewis Carr and shut him down, and then a fantastic offload to get the ball out to Caelan Jordan, and he could have ended his afternoon.
I think he has ended his afternoon. I think he's probably pulled his quad or adductor or something close in and around his stomach there, because he looks in lots and lots of pain, doesn't he? He's walking off the field now, and physio signalled almost straight away when he got to him that he needs to change him.
It's a bittersweet for the Dewsbury Rams, who extend their lead. Paul Sykes with the opportunity to extend it out further, but it doesn't look good for Callum Jordan.
Yeah, and it's the Elhurst error, isn't it? As you said there, Lewis, it's been a real grind until somebody's made the error, and now he's back in the good position for the Dewsbury Rams before he scores the try, and it's 8-0.
And Workington have had a few opportunities of their own to score at the other end. And so often in this sport, it's who takes their chances rather than who has more of them. And Sykes puts that kick to the side of the post as well. So 2 tries scored, but only an 8-point lead for Dewsbury.
Yeah, it's not been a bad start, has it, from Dewsbury? When you think the score early, and this is the offload, isn't it, from Lewis Carr, and then the finish is outstanding, isn't it? Outstanding.
Yeah, he does so well to get the arm away. Oh, it's a really good kick-off. Forces the error. Sykes just puts it into Rosette to stop Workington from playing straight off the back of it, but they will get the scrum. And exactly what they would have wanted, having just conceded an opportunity to get themselves down the other end of the field. And it's difficult to tell from our commentary position up here in this nice sheltered box, but there's some wind turbines behind the ground, Paul, that are moving pretty quickly. I'd suggest that it's quite difficult out there for the fullbacks.
I think it's into the face of Dewsbury, isn't it? Paul Sykes' 2 kicks have wobbled, haven't they? And the error off the kick-off there puts good position again, good field position, gives it to the home team. Jason Moss up with the carry.
And a penalty as well.
There's no point,
too keen.
There's no point in them going for goal, is there? They're not going to score 2 points and win this game. They're going to have to try and score more points.
But an opportunity for them to do just that then. They start with the ball 10 metres out from the Dewsbury line.
Move now, Connor!
Liam McNicholas, I think, is onto the field.
Grant Reed's on the field as well, isn't he? The big front rower.
Oh, and it's Sykes who's got himself up into the line, but I think it's going to be a Dewsbury knock-on. It is. You can tell from Paul Sykes' reaction.
Yeah, he thinks he should catch it, doesn't he? And he thinks he should catch it and get further downfield or go the distance. And
so again, Workington Town will start with the ball 10 metres away from the Dewsbury try line, right in the shadow of the sticks. If there were any shadows here, it's a pretty overcast day. And they come to the left-hand side. So Jordan Burns takes it up. Brings it out to Earl Hurst, who does well to gather it in. Keeps himself in the field of play as well. Shishan Sabuti brings the ball out from acting half. That Dewsbury line speed, really, really good. Grant Reed onto the field, as you mentioned, taking that carry. Now they look to examine that Dewsbury line on the right-hand side.
Set restart.
It is.
Well, they couldn't have asked for any.
Be over here on first. I think he's held up. He is.
They couldn't ask for any better opportunities. The referee's given them some stuff, haven't they? 2 penalties against Dewsbury when they're in possession. The referee's given the field position to Workington. They've been given a set restart there, and Paul Sykes knock on. So we can't ask for any more field position. The Workington Town team here.
So Stephen Scully with the carry brings Workington 5 metres out from the try line, and it's 6 again. And there's been a few of those now. As you say, every chance has been given to Workington.
Well, a couple more and the referee will be looking at the yellow card, won't he? Because it's just continual infringements.
Stevenson cut down 8 metres short. They come over to the left-hand side. Scully again gets the ball away on this occasion.
Chopped from behind, wasn't he, Grant Reed?
Just had his legs taken away from him. I think he may have got a bit of white lie fever there, thought he was in. That is a try, I think. Just wait for the referee's decision.
Can't see how the referee can give that. The referee can't give it. The touch judge on the near side should give it, but for me it is a try. I think you're right. Lewis, he's got that ball on the line for me.
Controversial moment then, half an hour or so into this game. Workington thought they'd scored. Looks like from our position as well that they had. The referee, very difficult call when you've got all of those bodies in front of you. And as you say, the assistant referee, the linesman. Oh, it was a very, very good kick. It was Ethan Bickersdyke, all at sea, trying to get his hands on the ball and bring it in. Couldn't quite manage it. But I think
a wonderful kick, wasn't it? Jack Mallinson with the kick. It's a fabulous kick. You would just see it. He's put it on the turn. If
he's not far away at all, is he?
If you want to be ultra critical, he's put it a metre too far, hasn't he, Jack Mallinson? But he did everything. He did everything to get to the ball, didn't he? This Bickersdyke on this right-hand side for Workington Town, he just couldn't get it there.
Well, that moment of controversy has brought the Workington crowd down into the game. They're not happy with that. Really difficult for the referee and the linesman, I think, who was probably blinded by the post.
It's the linesman blindsided by the post and the referee blindsided by 3 Dewsbury defenders. We're probably the best angle, aren't we? At a 45-degree angle, we can see the post, and for me, he gets the ball down, but off the back of that now, we give another penalty where he's just caught him, hasn't he? Jason Mossop swinging a little left arm.
Yeah, so plenty of temper and temperature in the game now. Perry Whiteley carries it up to the 30-metre line. And this just feels a really key little period in the game, doesn't it? Because both teams at risk of perhaps getting a little bit overexcited.
Well, it's one for the halves to manage now, isn't it? Because there's a lot of emotion being brought in. The no tries brought the Workington Town fans in, as you said, Lewis. And this is now about staying calm and getting to the end of sets.
Dewsbury have the ball right over on that right edge.
No, get up. Get up.
What can they do from about 15 metres out? It's Garside with the carry. There's definitely some feeling in some of these tackles now, Paul.
Unceremoniously foot on his back, wasn't he?
That's really good work from Butterworth. It's only half, and he may have just thought he was through. Hammered to the ground, and there's going to be a stoppage in play here.
I don't think he'll run there again. I don't think he'll go there again, will he? Jumps out of dummy half.
Stephen Scoley who shut the door pretty quickly on him.
Yeah, Reece Butterworth, wasn't it? Who thought he saw a little chink, which was duly shut. He got a head injury, the physio's on, so the referee can only stop the game here.
I think it's Henson, is it, that's down?
Some real feeling, wasn't there, as you said, in that tackle? And I think,
yeah, just a little bit of pressure. I think it's actually a bit of friendly fire, isn't it?
Steve Scoley, who got him.
Right in the back of the neck. We hope he's all right. Just stretching it out a little bit with the physio.
The difficulty is if he goes on the field here and he's rubbing his head, then it should be really a HIA assessment, shouldn't it? But it seems like he's okay. He's maybe got a band to the neck and doesn't need an assessment.
So we'll restart on the 5th.
Last play.
And it's Sykes who brings out to the left. Turner.
Ferguson.
I think Ferguson's going to be wrapped up and dealt with here.
I think he'll just stay where he is, won't he? If he can stay there.
They're looking to get him over to that touchline.
If he can stay there, then it's a really, really difficult carry. The next one coming up for Workington Town, that is for certain.
Yeah, it's the perfect place. If you're not going to score, it's the perfect place to turn the ball over, isn't it? So Workington with it all to do off the road try line.
Big Stake can't get out of there. He slipped. Jason Mossop's next lining off, next cab off the rank, isn't he? Greensmith gets to him, and that
doesn't shirk away from it. Yeah, really good line speed from Greensmith. And this is where that impact off the bench is so important, isn't it?
Yeah. Connor Davis underneath there that time.
Come out to the left. Scoley making some decent metres for his side. They're being penned in deep to their own territory here, deep into the set. And just a little bit dishevelled and disorganised, some of this now, isn't it?
It's really difficult to get out of that corner. They've done well to get up to the 30. The kick's got to be good, and I'm not sure I'd be stood this far back if I was anybody from Dewsbury. Catches the ball, he should return over the 40, shouldn't he?
Well, it's Restall who gets himself underneath it and now looks to bring it away.
He's not dropped one, has he, as you mentioned?
Oh, he's been very good under that high ball in difficult conditions as well.
He's made an error. Is he injured?
Well, he's down, holding his head now. Restall.
I think he's an injury, and then he sort of leaves the ball on the ground, doesn't he?
Referee hasn't indicated.
No, he'll make him play the ball, won't he? Let's have a look.
It's just, I think he just gets his head in the wrong place, doesn't he? A few defenders in there.
I don't see anything that reach, to be honest.
Oh, it's there.
Is it a bit of a crush? Yeah, just a little bit.
I think he might just
his neck stuck underneath, doesn't it? Let's have a look.
Is it just an elbow to just a
Gets his
loose
head
elbow, I think.
underneath there. Ooh. And then it squeezes out. I don't think there's any malice in it or intent.
No.
It's just an innocuous one, isn't it? Restall taps on the back.
From Reed, yep. And we're back underway. Whiteley again off his wing, looking for work in the middle of the park. I've been really impressed with him in the first 33 minutes or so of this game.
Far side again, short side, just pinched plenty of metres short sides, haven't they? We've got Whiteley on this side with Greensmith.
All been very willing, haven't they, to take those carries and get themselves into the line. There's not been a huge amount of kind of expansive backline play in terms of passing as Sykes now brings it up to the line. And gets his nose through, gets the offload away, and it's just slightly too low.
Oh, that's
it's gone backwards, says the referee.
Side's got his hand to that.
And Restall, with the ball in his hands, bringing it up to the 10-metre line. This is the fifth, 12 metres out. They come to the skinny side. It's Turner who'll put the kick in.
It's a lovely kick.
It's a really good kick.
Can't get out of there, can he?
Oh, it's Ethan Bickersdyke cleaning up, but unable to get himself back into the field of play. So a goal line dropout. Workington not happy to be finding themselves underneath the post. They just probably need to calm things down a little bit here, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the crowd are right to get on the referee's back a little. I thought that Sykes offload goes to Garside's hand, who knocks the ball on, and they're doing it tough here, the home team, that is for sure.
Well, it's a good kick.
It is forward.
And that is a real let-off for Workington. A real bonus for the home side. A cardinal sin from Dewsbury. It was a good kick, with plenty of distance on the dropout, maybe a little bit longer than Bristol was expecting. And he's given a forward pass.
Marginal, isn't it? They've probably had a couple of calls go against them, and that's one that, for me, probably wasn't forward. But the Garside one, and there's a couple of, there's the second try, maybe could have gone the other way. There's certainly nothing in the game, just a couple of tries, and it could have easily been the other way, couldn't it? I mean, there are plenty of opportunities to the Workington Town team to score points, and if they stick at it, then they're going to get something, that is for sure.
Well, here's Sean Sabuti bringing it up to the 40-metre line, Ghanaian international. And with those two missed conversions as well, Paul, Workington will be fully aware of the fact that they're only one try away from being right back in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kieran Walker met by plenty of Dewsbury defence, trying to step his way out of it, but he's brought down 37 metres out from the try line. Referee just telling them to stop and go back to where the tackle originally was.
Okay.
And we're back underway. Joseph Kirk up onto the field with that carry.
Hold, go.
And they come out to the right-hand side. Jack Mallinson dropping the ball off to Grant Reed. He breaches the Dewsbury 20-metre line, and this is the fifth tackle. Mallinson again. They choose to keep it in the hands. Here's Stevenson, and it was probably the wrong decision, wasn't it, in the end?
Well, he's put in some really nice kicks, hasn't he? And probably afraid with the wind at his back that he throws one dead and gives 7 tackles to Dewsbury. And that might be a knock-on effect of last week's game against Doncaster, where they're putting a kick at the end of the game. It's ricocheted to Tom Halliday, who's gone the distance and won the game for them. So maybe that's just a review kick rather, or not finding a kick because of the review.
Oh, Ferguson gets his legs going on that left-hand side. Really strong carry from the Scotland captain. I spoke to him before the World Cup. He was so proud to be leaving that Bravehearts team into that tournament. A new challenge this year with Dewsbury.
Smith again, throwing a couple off. That's a penalty. He's lifting him over the horizontal here.
And it is the penalty count that is killing Workington in this game, isn't it? We've got to stem this flow of penalties and this flow of piggybacks that Dewsbury are getting. Because more than anything, it's just increasing the amount of defending that Workington are going to have to do, and that could come into play later on in the game.
Come on.
So Butterworth will get us back underway from the penalty. A little inside ball back to Butterworth, and they look to put a spread play on here. Garside in the end just decides to keep it in his hands, and he's cut down 23 metres or so away from the try line. And at this stage in the half, another try for Dewsbury could be a real sucker punch.
Get out, Stephen!
They're 13 metres short. Butterworth brings it up to the line. Little drop-off ball to Jackson Walker. And he's stopped just a couple of metres short.
Well,
Referee says get up and get on with it. And it is Ferguson, met really well by the Workington Town defensive line, but can he get that arm free? He can't. So Dewsbury with a couple of tackles left in the bag to come to Perry Whiteley, forces his way over the line. The Workington Town defence does really well to just hold him up.
Yeah, he did.
But he's a real handful, isn't he?
Well, they've had to deal with there's three huge bodies on this left edge, isn't there? Ferguson playing in the back row. Outside of him, Greensmith, who could be playing in the front row or the back row. And then Perry Whiteley, who could equally be playing in the front row or the back row for the Rams. Did really well there, didn't they, the Workington Town players?
Oh, really well handled in the end. Bickersdyke, that is.
Yeah, nice
goalkeeper-esque.
Yeah, absolutely. Caught in the slips.
Stay out.
Jason Mossop carrying his team.
It's a good carry.
Up to the 20-metre line. Yeah, great carry from Jason Mossop. And now Workington bring it up to the 30-metre line.
Go.
Elliot Morris, another big body off the bench, isn't he? In shirt 17 for the Rams. It's 40-20.
He keeps the kick low on this occasion.
He's got his hand to it, though.
Caught Restall out, twisted and turning, trying to bring it in. Couldn't do. He's been forced all the way back to his own goal line. Now he'll look to bring it out.
Much more comfortable in the air, isn't he, Lewis? He's not dropped one of those yet.
Well, they can take some heart from that, Workington.
Whiteley again with metre after metre and still not gone to ground. It's 3, 4, 5 metres after contact.
Dewsbury with the ball 20 metres away from their own line. Greensmith has been really impressive, hasn't he, in this opening half of the game. Just to remind you that the clock on your screen is a guide rather than the official time. There's been a few stoppages, and that's a knock-on.
Morris, it gives them a chance now, doesn't it? The home team just before the break, doesn't it? Elliot Morris making the error on his own 40, and
that feels like it's going to be, and this is maybe pointing out the obvious, but that feels like the key to the second half as the hooter goes, and that is there won't be time for Workington to have one last crack at the Dewsbury line in this half.
Yeah,
the key in the second half will be keeping that error and penalty count as low to the floor as they can.
Penalty count for Workington Town, it's the error count for Dewsbury, isn't it? They've made too many errors in their own end of the field, but fortunately for them, they've been able to defend as a group really well, and Workington Town maybe could throw a little bit more at Dewsbury Rams, but Dewsbury have defended 3 back-to-backs early on in the game, a couple later on in the game and in the first half, and if they can continue to defend like that, then they don't need to score any more points to win this game here at Workington this afternoon. But Workington have got it all to do, haven't they? They've got to get an 8-point deficit, and they're going to be going into a stiff breeze.
On the flip side, for Workington, on both occasions that they have conceded, they've gone straight down the other end of the field and just haven't quite been able to take their opportunities.
Exactly that. Maybe
not a million miles away.
No, absolutely not. And the more Dewsbury do make errors, the easier it will be for Town to open them up. But maybe just a little bit more craft and guile. At the minute, we've just got Whiteley and Jordan's try. Sykes none from 2, and it's 8-0. And the game is still there for the winning for the home team. That is for sure.
Well, Dewsbury got off to the perfect start, that penalty giving them the piggyback, and this is really, really nice play. They ship it out to the left. Owen Restall coming into the line, and it's a really nice pass from the full-back.
Well, it's all of the pivots, isn't it? It's your 9 who starts it off with Butterworth, then you've got Callum Turner, Paul Sykes, Rhys Hall, and then he finds the winger in Perry Whiteley. It's a super try, the first one. Second one,
again, a really long, good pass up from the ruck from Butterworth on that occasion, and a fantastic offload from Lewis Carr. I thought the Workington defence had done enough. They'd got themselves, had shifted across, had forced Lewis Carr to come back onto the inside, and but for that remarkable offload, I think they probably would have dealt with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Super play, wasn't it?
Well, 40 minutes gone here at Derwent Park. A really entertaining clash in Betfred League One. It's the Dewsbury Rams that lead at the interval. Join us for the second half to find out if they can hold on out. It's 8-0 at the break.
And a Super League season comes to its conclusion here tonight. It is 4 in a row.
Robinson is a moment for long. He's digged it. Brilliant follow try.
Incredibly proud of my time in the sport. The sport means a great deal to me. It's given me everything I've got, probably more so the friendships and memories that I've got. So to see the shirt behind represent three things that I love dearly: the sport Rugby League, International Rugby League in England, the MND community, and of course Rob Burrow. You combine those three and it's very, very powerful, and delighted to see the shirt. It's designed on an England shirt going back to about 2012. Obviously it was red and white, but with the MND colours on it now, that same design, it's really fitting and special. You know, Rob is celebrated in this way, the impact and how great it was in an England shirt.
Because here comes Ellis, and Burrow is a flying machine just to his left. Off he goes, scooting away.
For Rugby League to get behind it and sharing it, I think is incredible. And those guys who get to wear the shirt will feel 10 feet tall having worn it, and there's some irony in that because Rob was only 5'4", but he's been a giant and continues to inspire everybody, and I'm sure the guys who get the chance to wear it will be absolutely inspired. Please keep supporting the MND community and of course our good friend Rob Burrow. You're all making a massive difference and you're helping provide hope to a community that really need us.
And a Super League season comes to its conclusion here tonight. It is 4 in a row.
Robinson is a moment for long. He's kicked it. A brilliant
Incredibly proud of my time in the sport. The sport means a great deal to me. It's given me everything I've got, probably more so the friendships and memories that I've got. So to see the shirt behind represent three things that I love dearly: the sport Rugby League, International Rugby League in England, the MND community, and of course Rob Burrow. You combine those three and it's very, very powerful, and delighted to see the shirt. It's designed on an England shirt going back to about 2012. Obviously it was red and white, but with the MND colours on it now, that same design, it's really fitting and special. You know, Rob is celebrated in this way, the impact and how great it was in an England shirt.
Because here comes Ellis, and Burrow is a flying machine just to his left. Off he goes, scooting away.
For Rugby League to get behind it and sharing it, I think is incredible. And those guys who get to wear the shirt will feel 10 feet tall having worn it, and there's some irony in that because Rob was only 5'4", but he's been a giant and continues to inspire everybody, and I'm sure the guys who get the chance to wear it will be absolutely inspired. Please keep supporting the MND community and of course our good friend Rob Burrow. You're all making a massive difference and you're helping provide hope to a community that really need us.
And a Super League season comes to its conclusion here tonight. It is 4 in a row.
Robinson is a moment for long. He's kicked it. A brilliant Burrow
Well, welcome back to Derwent Park, this Betfred League One clash. How good's that Rob Burrow MND England shirt, by the way? Fantastic cause. We'll see that in the mid-season internationals. But here in Betfred League One, it is the Dewsbury Rams who lead at the break, 8-0 against Workington Town. And Paul Cook, obviously Liam Finn will be the happier of the two head coaches, his side in the lead at the break, but plenty to play for. Workington will know that they're probably only one try away from being right back in there.
Yeah, well, I think Anthony Murray will be pretty pleased with his team and the way his team have gone about the business. They've kept Dewsbury down their own end by and large. They've made a couple of poor, ill-disciplined choices. The first one is a tackle where it gives field position to Dewsbury and they score that wonderful opening try. The second one, they defend it really well. The offload's fantastic. Whether he gets it down or not, you know, it's debatable. Where it's slow motion here, I'm not sure. It should be maybe 4-0. But if they can continue to put pressure on the Dewsbury line, they only need that one try and they are back in it. And I think Anthony Murray will be disappointed that his team haven't offered enough in attack and posted enough pressure and point and tried to score points to go into the half-time break either 8-4 down or 8-6, because they've had plenty of field position, and if they continue to give field position away at Dewsbury, eventually it will bite them on the backside.
Well, we mentioned how important it's going to be to keep the error count and the penalty count down for both sides, but the other factor that might come into play in this is the amount of defending that Workington in particular have had to do because of their error count and penalty count in that first half. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think Anthony Murray will want his team to tidy up in terms of their ill discipline, you know, with regards to high shots, you know, lifting the player over the horizontal, offside off a kick, you know, little ill disciplines like that can eventually bite you on the backside. As I've said, the Dewsbury Rams have already posted 2 tries and they need no second invitation to go down there and score more points. So if Workington do not tidy that up, then it will be an easier second half for Paul Sykes, Callum Turner and co to be able to manage with the wind at the back of them in this half. So Workington have still got it all on. However, as you said, though, it's just 1 try will mean that they're straight back in this game, and you know, if they get in front, there'll be a really difficult crowd to contain and team to contain on the field. And there's a lot of work to do for Ethan Bickersdyke and Jason Mossop on the right edge for Workington Town, because it's Perry Whiteley and Oliver Greensmith who were making a huge amount of metres on this left edge for Dewsbury. 2 really big physical outside backs. Happy to get their hands dirty in yardage as well, and in some respects that's been a big difference because they're probably 15-20 metres better off each yardage set to play.
Yeah, exactly that, and that's something that Anthony Murray, the Workington coach, was very much aware of pre-game, about just how big this Dewsbury team is, whether that's in the front row, whether it's in the back row, and they've got essentially a couple of back rows playing on the left edge in Whiteley and Greensmith, centre and wing. So yeah, they've still got it all on, Workington Town, to get a result in this game, and certainly Dewsbury Rams will be favourites to go on and win this game with the wind at the back and the couple of tries with nice skill that they already have scored. So yeah, it's a difficult job for the home team, but not one that's impossible.
Well, Workington Town making their way back out onto the field. We await the visitors, Dewsbury Rams, to get us back underway. An update from the Betfred Super League half-time: Salford Red Devils 12, Wakefield 10. That's a lot closer than I think a lot of people expected it to be, Paul.
It's a lot closer than I expected it to be. We've got a media tipping competition that we go in every week, and I'd Salford by 40, so I mean I'm way off at the minute, but yeah, they're doing it real tough, the Wakefield Trinity team on the field. Yeah, it's a tough gig at the minute. They've lost by a country mile at Wigan 60-0, and maybe could have beaten Catalans in round 1 and go down by 38 points to 30 something. So doing it tough.
Dale Ferguson leads the Dewsbury Rams back out onto the field. Boos ringing around Tailwood Park. Well, I think there's fantastic atmosphere, isn't there?
Yeah, there's been a couple of decisions, haven't there, where the locals here have probably got it right and the referee's got it wrong, and that's why they're booing him a little bit. But particularly the try under the post, we can't play without them. But yeah, well, we shall see if he improves for the home team second half.
Well, it's Paul Sykes who gets us back underway, kicking what we think is into the wind.
Oh, with it.
With the wind, in fact.
Yeah, he is. He's going with it, isn't he?
And it's come out. They've come out trumps with that one, Dewsbury. And it's almost a mirror of the start of the first half. A mistake from Workington early on in the 40, early on in the piece, has given Dewsbury a perfect opportunity to get early points on the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. It's swirling kick.
That's definitely into the wind. That held up
and
a huge amount.
Yes,
and they have got it back.
Oh, but he's knocked the ball on. He's play on.
My word, what a start to this half. It's all happening here in Betfred League One, live and exclusive on the Sportsman. A pleasure to have you with us as we get things up and running in this second half.
Yeah, Grant Reid, wasn't it, who got to the ball, and you saw it hold up in the wind. Butterworth out dummy half to Ferguson, and now Ferguson powering towards the try line.
Dewsbury now with the ball over on the left-hand side.
Yeah, Ferguson's going to
bring it back. Can Dewsbury force their way over?
Good tackle, that one, wasn't it? Great shot underneath.
Jackson Walker, that was, who's come off the bench. Chopped down, and now they look to bring it onto the right-hand side. Garside, can he get his arm free? He's wrapped up over the line.
There's a real desperation, isn't there, about the town defence. They've held up a few players over the try line. Dewsbury players, Perry Whiteley first half, that time Matt Garside, and really hanging on in there by fingernails.
So 8 metres short from the Workington Town line. Butterworth brings it over to the right-hand side. Bradley Graham, that is, making the carry. This is fifth and last. Sykes now brings it over. They keep the ball in hand. No, they don't. Taylor puts the kick through. And I think Jordan Burns has dealt with it really well and earned himself a penalty for his troubles.
Yeah, I think he's caught a stray boot, hasn't he, here? Stray boot. Jordan Burns catches from Callum Turner, and Callum Turner gives the penalty away.
So an opportunity for Workington Town to clear their lines, which they do. Just about.
Almost, wasn't it?
Yeah, Whiteley just for a second thought he might be able to keep that in.
It's a fabulous kick just into the wind.
So they will start with the ball on the 30-metre line.
Great off. Great one, isn't it?
Kirkup, I think.
Yes, it is.
Joseph Kirkup making big metres up the middle. Plenty of yards on offer for him there. And a good platform now for Workington Town. Scully gets the offload away to Kirkup. Kirkup carries in again.
Can he get rid?
He looks to get the offload away.
It'll be a knock on, isn't it?
If he had his time again,
I'm sure he wouldn't.
He'd have kept that ball in his hands, but as it is, Dewsbury Rams will have the scrum 40 metres or so off their own line.
It's a let off, isn't it? Because Kirkup makes a really nice play, doesn't he, where he busts the line, and then Steve Scully gets an offload away to him. He's not sure whether to get the ball away again, and he does do and makes the error.
So Dewsbury Rams just inside their own half. Restorff, the fullback, bringing it up just short of the halfway line. Butterworth at hooker. Greensmith again, getting his hands on the ball in the middle of the field, bringing it right across to this right-hand side. Chopped down by the Workington defence, however, and Butterworth now playing the ball off to Davies.
Strong carrier, isn't he? Connor Davies bumps off so many first attempts of a tackle. Morris. Dale Ferguson. Just a solid 8-9 metres after contact.
And it seems to be that every carry.
Yeah. Still not on the ground.
Just got that edge, hasn't he, at the moment on the Workington Town pack, and he gets a penalty.
I just think to keep going here, there's no point in them taking 2 points.
Well, the reaction from the Dewsbury players was straight away to turn to the bench and put the 2 points up in the air.
Not for me.
And they've been told to just keep it rolling.
It's immaterial, isn't it, going between, going 10 points up.
Sykes out the back to Restall. Restall brings the ball into the line. He's cut down 7 metres short. Now Garside just looked to poke his nose through that Workington defensive line. Butterworth shows and goes from the base of the ruck. And Callum Turner nearly slipped through. He was met by some good line speed. There was half a gap, but he's pulled down 6 metres short. Again, they look to go one way, then come back the other.
I think they'll look for Dale Ferguson here. That's who I'd be looking for.
Well, he wants it. He's putting his hand up. Butterworth chooses to go himself.
He held up.
And again, probably the wrong decision in the end from the Dewsbury 9. And it's Ferguson from the base of the ruck. Sykes puts the kick up. There's a number of Dewsbury players there waiting for it. Brilliantly taken. Brought down by Bradley Graham. Dots it down for 4 points.
Yeah, and Workington Town have been their architects of their own downfall, really. They've come up with an error from kick-off, then they've come up with another error, haven't they, from Grant in the middle of the field. It's just a couple of errors that have allowed the Rams back in. It's a wonderful kick, isn't it, from Paul Sykes? Let's have a look.
It's on the money, isn't it, from Paul Sykes?
Great
It's
kick.
a great take.
It's the take above the head, isn't it? It's a real difficult skill. And
maybe the problem there for Sean Tabuti is that he knew that there was another Dewsbury player behind him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably couldn't commit to challenging for that ball in the same way that he wanted to.
He's got to go up for it, hasn't he? Because it could be knocked back or knocked down. So he's got to make a play at it. It's 2 versus 1. But the catch is absolutely fantastic, isn't it?
Paul Sykes is 0 for 2 with the boot so far. That was a fantastic kick out of hand to set that try up. Can he add 2 more and just push the Rams even further ahead here? Those wind turbines behind the sticks.
Getting stronger.
Yeah.
Quicker.
I think they're in Paul Sykes' favour on this occasion, but he takes his time over it. Knows what he's doing, of course, over 1,000 career goals, which is a remarkable number. A remarkable career at all levels of the game. Steps up. And again, he's pushed it to the right-hand side. He's having an off day from the kicking tee, Paul Sykes. But it was his lovely little dink over the Workington defence that's given his side, through Bradley Graham's take, 4 more points.
Yeah, it's a wonderful kick, isn't it? And the catch is just superb, isn't it, from Brad Graham? As I said, it's such a difficult skill to catch that ball above your head with arms at full stretch.
So Burns gets us back under the way. Kick holding up in the wind, but Restall, as he has been for pretty much all of this game, safely underneath it. Jackson Walker brings the ball up to the 18-yard line.
Sam Day off the bench, isn't it?
Yeah, Sam Day has come on at hooker for the Rams. Well, I say at hooker, Reece Butterworth is out there as well. So we'll work out exactly how they're lining up. But for the time being, Dale Ferguson making huge meters on that left-hand side. Working defence do get there in the end, looking to shepherd him over to that touchline, but he's safely in the field of play. So Butterworth out to Greensmith. Greensmith again making good meters, gets those legs pumping.
Torrid time for that right edge defence, isn't it, for Workington Town?
Well, we picked up on it at half-time, didn't we, the amount of work that they've had to do. And Garside loses possession. The referee says that it's gone backwards. So Dewsbury get a second chance. This is the 5th tackle. Day brings it out to the left-hand side to Butterworth. Butterworth out to Turner.
Try.
Ball over the top. Wonderfully taken. The try is scored, and it's another inch-perfect kick, and Perry Whiteley has his second of the game.
Yeah, it's a super kick and a super take, isn't it, from Perry Whiteley? I think the locals beneath us here are just disappointed that when Garside drops the ball, they think it's a knock-on, and I'm not sure. We might get another look at it, but for me, it's that take nothing away from the skill. Butterworth at the line, the kick from Callum Turner there is absolutely superb, isn't it? And
they're just caught in 2 minds, aren't they? Workington. Butterworth brings it into the line enough to engage the defenders. Yeah. But it's a deep pass out the back and a wonderful kick over the top.
Yeah, it's super, isn't it?
Perry Whiteley will take those all day long. And all of a sudden, it's a long way back for Workington here,
it opens up, doesn't it? And this was the danger, wasn't it? If you've continually given the ball to the opposition in the game, and you're trying to stop errors and not make errors and come off your own end of the field into a real strong wind, what is a real strong breeze, and we've just picked them off a couple of times with a couple of ping-point left foot kicks, having the one from Sykes, one from Turner. Paul Sykes will be really disappointed with his efforts off the tee, but 16-0 is what you say, Lewis. A long way back, in my opinion, for the home team now.
Can he add his first of the day? He has done the most difficult one of the lot. Yeah. And it's the first one of the afternoon that goes over.
I think he'd be really disappointed, Paul Sykes, with his first kick second half. It's on the right side of the field with the wind at his back, but take nothing away from the Butterworth pass from the line. Right into the teeth of the line. The kick's super from Turner.
Wonderful kick, isn't it?
Yeah, Whiteley doesn't have to break stride, does he? All he has to do is catch the ball and put it down.
And he's had two, well, you say simple, they're never simple, but two relatively routine finishes. Yeah. But he deserves both of them for the work that he's done further back up the field.
Yeah, 100%. I think Ollie Greensmith will be looking for one, won't he? And Big Dale Ferguson.
Well, Restall, safe as houses underneath that high kickoff.
I don't think he's dropped a ball, has he?
No, he's been outstanding at fullback. Elliot Morris taking the ball into the line, cut down 25 metres away from his own line. And it really is just a case now for Dewsbury of keeping error-free football, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they should be okay in this game now. Stranger things have happened, of course.
It has, but as long as they get somewhere around the 30-40 metre line coming off their own end, then you would expect Turner and Sykes to kick the ball long and put Workington deep into their own 20. So it's a long way back for the home team, that is for certain.
Well, it looks like Butterworth has moved into loose forward.
Here he has,
Samuel Bay coming on at hooker.
Ball player. Yeah.
So pivots all over the park now, and we saw on that first drive of the game how useful they can be when they shift it wide and bring those extra hands into the line. Can Workington Town just wrestle their way back into this game? There's still time.
Could do with some help here. Could have the set restart. Just as we say that, they get the set restart. And
Sean Sabuti bringing the ball up. Lots of work now for the forwards to do. They've got to get on the front foot here, Workington. They've got to make metres every carry. And Kirkup doing exactly that, to be fair to him, bring it up just short of the 40-metre line. Henson from acting half. Just a short drop-off ball to the right-hand side. Now he has it at the base of the ruck again. They come out the back to Burns. Burns wraps up, but then gets himself free. Still going, Burns still going, shrugs off a couple of tackles. That's got the crowd going, it's fifth. So they need to do something with it on this fifth tackle option. But a much better set for Workington. The ball goes high up into the air. Sabuti up challenging for it. What a take, what a try. And we said that Workington needed to do something to get themselves back in this game. And they've done exactly that.
Yeah, it's a wonderful kick. It's put into a position, isn't it, which means Sean Sabuti can get up and make a play at the football, and it's absolutely superb, isn't it? The way he gets up and over, and for everything that the Dewsbury player did at the other end, he's done exactly the same to him, hasn't he? It's a super catch, isn't it, over the top.
It's a wonderful kick. It causes problems for the Dewsbury defence, but what about the take from Sabuti? Ghanaian international, his fifth try of the season, Workington's top scorer, and look what it means.
Yeah, he gets over the top.
Just saying it's a long way back.
Well, it's not as far now, is it? Not we're 18-4, it's an important kick, isn't it?
Well, this is an important kick. It's going to be Kieran Walker over on this left-hand side.
Well, he's not missed that. Super kick.
Great kick from Kieran Walker. And we've got a game in our hands again now. More than anything, a real confidence booster for Workington. Look how much the body language has changed already. A real lift.
It's a great kick, isn't it, from Jack Mallinson. He puts it right on a 5-pence piece, doesn't he? And it's over the top of Carr, Sabuti. It's a wonderful take. We've seen some great plays, haven't we, this afternoon off the left boot or right boot this time of Jack Mallinson. A couple of tries. Callum Turner's left foot, Paul Sykes' left foot, a couple of tries for the Rams, and that one is every bit as good, if not better.
Well, I hope you're enjoying this afternoon's coverage of Betfred League One here on the Sportsman. We certainly are. These two teams have served up a really entertaining game of rugby league in the final 25 minutes or so. All of a sudden, look even more appetising than they did before, because Workington Town have their tails up after that try. Earl Hurst bringing the ball out for the home side. Henson comes to the left, and just look at how much more intent there is in the carry. They know they're back in this game. 6 again, and all of a sudden it feels like there's a turning point here. Henson gets the offload away. Kirkup will just keep it under the jumper, settle the ball down on the halfway line. And an instant momentum shift in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. The tries buoyed everybody, hasn't it? From the home players on the field, the coaching staff in the stands, and the fans below us who are right behind their team.
So Mallinson brings the ball over on the right-hand side, a drop-off pass to Jack Stevenson, England Lions under-20 international. And Henson getting a bit of a roll on from the play the ball. They bring it over to the left-hand side. Oh, just behind him, the pass. Kane Barnes it was, he couldn't quite bring it in.
Yeah, and it's a let-off, isn't it? It's a let-off for the Rams. Yeah, they've started to get some intent and intensity into what they're doing, the home team, having scored that try from Sabuti, and they make the error, lets the Rams off the hook.
Well, Dewsbury will just want to settle this game down now. They've had a bit of a punch on the nose with that try. Let's see how they respond. Their first proper look at the football. Referee just tells them to go back to play the ball.
Yeah, Reesall just moving off the mark, wasn't he? The referee sends him back, and there's only one winner there.
And it just slows the Rams down a little bit in this set, gives Workington the opportunity to get back on their line, reorganise defensively. Good carry from James Beckett for Dewsbury. Now Day brings it out to the left-hand side.
Starting front row is back on, the Beckett and Nixon both back on the field, so he can sense it, can't he? Liam Finn in the stands, the sense of the shift of momentum, and he's trying to wrestle it back.
Dale Ferguson out there as well still. That's up in the air.
It's a great catch
from Paul Sykes, but really well dealt with by Jordan Burns at fullback for Workington. That's messy. The referee's just going to tell them to reset and get on with it. Workington bringing the ball away from their own 10-metre line. Met by good line speed again from Dewsbury. They've been pretty intense in that part of the game all afternoon.
Yeah. Jordan Thompson coming back on the field as well for the home team. So Anthony Mullally returning serve to Liam Finn, isn't he? A couple of front rows back on that start of the game. A couple of front rows back on. JJ Key as well back on.
But he's got to roll the dice, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has,
at this point in the game, because if they can get another try back in the next 5 or so minutes, it's really back on. But they can't let Dewsbury get that control back and get themselves back in the arm wrestle.
Yeah, they've got to stay clean as well, because if they give Sykes an opportunity with ill discipline anywhere around the halfway, it's a 40-20.
That's a good kick.
It's a
really good kick.
Is it?
Turn them round. Just have to see.
Just outside.
I think he was just outside the 40.
Oh, well. If you give Sykes an opportunity at a shot at goal, then he's going to gleefully accept and put his team more than 2 scores in front, isn't he? So 12 points ahead's precarious for the Workington Town team still, because if they give away a penalty, then Sykes can take a shot with wind at his back.
It was about 5 yards actually in front of that 40-metre line, but even so, turned Lewis Carr around, got the ball over the sideline, and Dewsbury have to carry it away from their own 10-metre line. So a good kick. Dewsbury coming to that left-hand side. Greensmith looking for work, as he has done all afternoon. Wow. Getting himself free. Still going, Greensmith on that left edge. His metre count this afternoon will be pretty high, and it's now Restall, the fullback, bringing the ball into the line. And that's what they can't afford to do, Workington, isn't it? Just get those cheap metres. So Day brings it over to the right. Ronan Dixon bringing the ball into the line with interest. Decent little platform this for Dewsbury Rams. Day back out to the left. James Beckett carries up 10 metres out. That is the last tackle. What can they do with the kick? They've had some success with it already. Sykes keeps it in hand, gives it to Dale Ferguson. He's over the line, but he's lost it forward.
Yeah, and that's it, isn't it? The Town just hanging on from that Greensmith long break, wasn't it? They're just hanging on. Ferguson gets over the line, can't quite ground the ball, and Workington Town survived this one. Yeah, he did. He just lost it, didn't he?
Well, it's worth the gamble, going for the power play there, keeping the ball in hands. But
well, if anything else, turning it over there, isn't it?
It's just the knock-on, isn't it, unfortunately, that's giving Workington a 20-metre head start and a penalty. It was Sean Sabuti who's really growing into this game.
Let's have a look.
And he was taken high.
Here it is. Sabuti into contact.
Yeah.
Sam Day, isn't it? He gets up and looks at the referee and says, "What, me, sir?" Yeah, I think he just collected his 2 front teeth.
So what can Workington do with the ball on this set? The real added energy about them since getting over for that try. Thompson now bringing it up over the 40-metre line. And Walker now on this left edge. Kane Barnes almost just getting his nose out. He was almost through. And he'll get a penalty.
I think they're putting real pressure here on this right edge of Dewsbury Rams. The line from Barnes is a really good line, isn't it? And just gets a clip around the chin. That's a bit before that, wasn't it?
Well, this is where the experience of the likes of Paul Sykes, Dale Ferguson will be so important for Dewsbury, just to calm their team down, settle things a little bit, and just try and ride out this period, this purple patch that Workington are having. Their best spell of the game, definitely. And he could be through here.
Walker, isn't it? Over the line.
They've held him up. But all of a sudden, just the gaps and chinks are starting to appear, aren't they?
They're that close, Lewis, here. They're that close to putting another one on the try line of Dewsbury Rams, making it 18-10 with a kick to come. Walker's off the tee was outstanding with his first kick from this sideline, wasn't he? So 4 turned into 6, and then it's all on, isn't it?
So Henson from dummy half out to Thompson. Thompson brought down 6 metres away from that Dewsbury try line. They're under the sticks. They come out to the right-hand side. Defence is solid. Dale Ferguson.
And JJ Key, big man on big man.
Short ball to Thompson, trying to muscle his way over. He's held. This is the 5th. Well, the kick worked last time. Sean Sabuti's got his hand up in the air again. Will they go for that option? They go for the power play.
Got to find a pass or a try.
Now, held up, says the referee. Was he just short?
Well, if he's held up over the line, it's a 10-metre restart, isn't it? If he's not and he's just been tackled there, then good luck getting out of there. Let's have a look who's putting their hand up here. Greensmith, Perry Whiteley, you would imagine.
Workington defence keen, flying up.
Greensmith with an 8-10 metre carry there.
Yeah, he's done that all afternoon very well. And then Perry Whiteley, his partner in crime, over on that left-hand side, doing the same thing. And that's a reasonable start to the set for Dewsbury. Can't imagine they'll do anything too adventurous with ball in hand for the time being. Going to ride this wave of Workington pressure out.
If
the defence is good from Town.
If they get anywhere around the 30-40 metre line, then you think that Sykes or Turner would get him out of trouble with the kick. I think Sam Day's been collected off the ball a little bit there.
Yeah, there's a bit going on in back play. Referee not interested, says get on with it. Sykes puts the kick over the top. Bounces kindly. In the end for Ethan Bickersdyke. And he gets himself into a little space. Still going, stepping, brought down just short of the 50-metre line. This is what wasn't happening for Workington 10-15 minutes ago, even in this game.
Really, really nice, isn't it, from Workington? And the shot in the arm was the try, wasn't it, from Sean Sabuti? And now they're right in it.
To Henson. Miss out pass to Thompson. 6 or 7 metres made by the prop forward. It's a slow play, the ball. So Henson will just go short again. Liam McNicholas, that is, carrying up just short of the 20. Now will they look to spread it? They do. It's a short ball, though.
Really direct to the home team here. Really nice, isn't it? Putting the Rams under all sorts of pressure.
Well, they're asking for a penalty. It's not coming, so Thompson will bring the ball in. And actually, now they do spread it. Burns with a difficult take off his shoelaces. And this is 5th and last.
Time off.
Gone down, hasn't it? It's Barnes, isn't it?
Kane Barnes is looking a little bit ginger on the floor there. Physio's on just to have a look. We can all take a little bit of a breather. They're knocking on the door, Workington, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And they're playing really direct and really tough. And yeah, they're doing the right things. That is for sure.
Still time. Still at least 15 minutes or so in this game. That clock, of course, just a guide. Not the exact time. There has been some stoppages. And a little stab through. But there's green fields in front of Restall. He did really well.
Yeah, he did do well, didn't he?
And he chopped down 25 metres away from his own line. Perry Whiteley with a big follow-up at carry, bumping defenders off. Oh. Now he shifts it.
Did really well, didn't he, Carter? Ride the challenge, didn't he, of Walker?
We've not seen too much of Carr with ball in hand, have we, in this game? Certainly useful, though. Set up that second try of a tremendous offload. Holds the record for the most tries ever scored in one Castleford Tigers Academy season. 39 tries in just 21 games.
Wow. Butterworth this time out dummy half. Sam Day's just a little bit behind the play, isn't he? So Butterworth's gone to dummy half. This time Sykes is in there. I dare say he might just shift short side and find a kick. Turner doing the same. There we go.
Turner does look to that corner. It's Burns being examined underneath it. He does well.
Stays in the field of play, which is even more
Crucially
remarkable.
stays in the field of play.
Yeah. It's a tough place to get out of. That's the only thing, isn't it?
And he's getting up a little bit slowly.
Penalty.
But they will get a penalty.
Yeah,
I think he just lost his footing a little bit, didn't he? He was on the way down, but he's definitely caught one to the head.
Yeah.
And he's been consistent with those decisions today, the referee.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an easy out, though, isn't it, for Town and everything that they need against this wind, and still that position of one try, and it's all really back on, isn't it? It's on now, but a try for Workington Town, and wow,
just keeping themselves in the game, aren't they? As Thompson, he's really injected himself into things since that try that's just given Workington Town a lift. It's been really good since he came back onto the field. Just juggling away, and that was the
juggle meant
slowed it down for Kieran Walker, didn't it?
The juggle meant the catch on his chest meant that it was easy for Garside to make a tackle. If he catches that ball in his hands, Walker, and he can find a pass before Garside gets to him. Really tough skill, though.
Yeah, it was JJ Key who couldn't quite bring it in cleanly. Thompson loses his footing, and it's just those tiny little details of the game that have probably cost Workington a scoring opportunity in this set. It's a good kick. Turns Carr around, bounces back over his head, but he deals with it. Plays a looping pass out to Restall. Really impressive, I think, the Dewsbury fullback this afternoon, Owen Restall. He plays the ball just short of the 20-metre line. Perry Whiteley, as he has done all afternoon, big meters and a penalty. And that could be a very significant moment in this game.
It's significant, isn't it? Because at the end of the set, they're going to either put an attacking kick in, or dare I say, we're in the territory now with around about 13, 14 minutes left, where you drop a goal and make it a 3-score lead.
So Dewsbury Rams with an opportunity to clear their lines, which they duly do.
Over the halfway to start the game, restart the game.
You're not even back 7, Matty. Never mind 10.
It's taken in by Bradley Gray.
Hand down, Jordan.
To Butterworth, who's not been off all game.
No, he's gone and done a bit of loose forward. He's put Day now into the middle at loose forward and put Butterworth back to dummy half.
Now they come back out to this right-hand side, Garside. He's carried really strongly over on that right edge, isn't he? Cutting in and out of the line. Sykes brings over to the line, decides to keep it in his hands, almost found a way through, just brought down.
Ferguson on that left edge, having a look.
Oh, that's a strong carry, and that could well be that. Ronan Dixon, I think it is, he's muscled his way over, came onto that ball like a steam engine, forced his way over the line. Ronan Dixon it is. And you think that might just be match point Dewsbury Rams?
And it comes, doesn't it, from that penalty. Perry Whiteley's carry gets them for offside, Workington Town offside, around about 35-40 metres off the Dewsbury line, and from there the kick's over the halfway, and then it's Dixon who powers his way through, doesn't he? And referee right in prime position, isn't he? Key does his utmost to try and keep Ron and Dixon above the turf, but the ball gets down, and Sykes will add the extras. 24-6 it will likely be, and you're right, I think, Lewis, that could be the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, we'll be grateful for that one, Paul Sykes. The first try of the afternoon that's been under the sticks. And you have to give credit to the way that Dewsbury handled that 10-15 minute spell where Workington were on top.
Yeah, absolutely, and as we say, if we get anywhere near 30-40 metres out, then Sykes and Turner will kick the ball long, and they've kept him at arm's length just enough, haven't they? I know we've had a couple of hold-ups over the try line, and even when they put the kick through, the fullback got to the ball, didn't he, and made a 30-40 metre break. So you're right, they've just handled this period a little bit better, haven't they? Owen Restall, wasn't it, with wants to put the kick through, he gathers it.
And Sykes does duly oblige with his simplest kick of the afternoon. Yeah, they got the numbers slightly wrong, didn't they, on their own goal line. Just left enough space.
They've got so many big bodies to take care of, though, haven't they? You've got Ferguson on that left edge with Greensmith, Whiteley. In the middle, you've got Dixon and
That's okay, that's gone 10. Okay.
Garside on the right edge.
Burns with a high shot kick-off. Sabusi's done really well. He's a real handful under that high ball, isn't he, on that left wing.
Gone over the top of everybody.
So Workington not throwing the towel in, that's for sure.
That's one. Get out, Reece.
JJ Key will play the ball 12 metres short. They come now to the right-hand side. There's numbers here if they can get the ball through hands. Burns decides to keep it himself.
It's just the big bodies on that left edge that defend it, isn't it? Burns almost over.
Really good defensive shift from that Dewsbury left edge. Just cut the space down.
Yeah, Greensmith and Whiteley, wasn't it, again, that make that tackle on the dummy half.
So Workington 10 metres away with the ball in hand now.
Kick.
And again, there's an opportunity here. The kick probably just needed to be a little bit more power on it, a little bit more juice on it.
It's going to be a restart under the sticks, though, is it? Has he got back in?
I think he's just kept himself in the field of play. Really nicely done.
Lewis Carr.
And he's probably going to get...
Oh, he's let them off, though, hasn't he?
Well, it was silly from Walker.
Yeah, absolutely. Kieran Walker's just had an absolute shocker, hasn't he? Because he's frustrated that the ball's not in the in-goal deep enough for Carr to be trapped, and that frustration's got the better of him, and you just see it here, him and JJ keep trying the best, doesn't quite get in, and between Walker and Lewis Carr, they have a little bit of a set to. He's left his knee in there, and then a push, and it's just soft push, isn't it? Easy out for the Rams.
Well, there'll be a lot of things I'm sure Anthony Murray will be encouraged by from this performance today. Those little bits like that. There's been penalties on both sides of dissent, hasn't there? And just little things letting them down at times. So Dewsbury have the ball just inside their own half after that penalty. Butterworth from 9. Ferguson still going, looking to get the arm free for the offload, decides to just bring it in. But more metres made over on that left edge. Butterworth again from dummy half. Sykes shows, goes, this time just drops it off to James Beckett. Beckett has the ball 30 metres away. And Butterworth, he's just jumping out a little bit, isn't he? Bringing those players onto the ball with flat passes, causing problems for the Workington defence.
Drop goal for Sykes.
Yep, he's going to go for it.
Yes.
Kicked it.
And he's got it. So Paul Sykes,
very smart, isn't it?
All of his experience there, knew exactly what he wanted, organised his players around him, and he looked like he had all the time in the world as the ball came to him there to just slot that one-pointer over, push his team ever so slightly further ahead.
Yeah, it's just a very old head, isn't it, on his old shoulders. He's still running around at 41 years of age and still making contributions that mean his team are in front and going to win the game more comfortably. There he is again.
Workington are going to get the ball back.
I think that's a call from the referee. That I don't think it was a knock-on, was it, from the Dewsbury player? Really nice kick, wasn't it, from the fullback? Jordan Burns. The kick goes past the 10, doesn't it, the 40-metre line, and I'm not sure he gets a touch on that. However, they've had a few calls go against them, Town, so they're certainly not going to win the game from it.
Well, we said at the beginning that Dewsbury were the favourites coming into this game. This result is probably not too surprising.
I think there's certainly some really encouraging signs for the home team, isn't there? I mean, we're disappointed with the way that they played last week and let the game go, but this is against a whole different team, isn't it? Or the favourites to be promoted back from League One to the Championship, and by and large it's been in the balance, the game as a whole.
I think it's been a lot closer than a 25-6 scoreline would give away. I think probably the difference has just been Dewsbury have just been that little bit more clinical.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So Workington looking to get themselves a consolation, perhaps 11 metres from the line.
Yeah,
and I'm going to ask you to start having a think, Paul, about your player of the match.
Yeah,
I'll come to you in a minute with that.
There's a few candidates, isn't there?
Well, the kick goes up from Kieran Walker. Oh, brilliantly taken from Whiteley. I would imagine that he's one of those candidates, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, between him and Ollie Greensmith, who's the next cab off the rank here, look, but Dale Ferguson's been good off the bench. Butterworth in the middle of the field's been very good as well. They've just been a little bit too big, haven't they? A little bit too physical, been able to get down the field that little bit too much. But the player of the match for me goes to try Perry Whiteley.
There we go, the Betfred
23
player of the match for Dewsbury Rams. As Paul mentioned, 2 tries this afternoon. Perry Whiteley and his side have got a penalty.
And along with that, mentions to, fullback has been very good, hasn't he? Owen
Restall, really impressive under that high ball.
Yeah, Matt Garside on this right edge has been very good. They've had to reshuffle as well on this right edge, with obviously losing Jordan to that injury as he scores the second try. So it's not been all the way that Dewsbury Rams would have wanted it. Butterworth's been decent as well. He could have easily got man of the match without scoring a try.
He's away, Ferguson. Turn of pace. And he's chopped down 25 metres short. So the Betfred player of the match is Perry Whiteley. Can his team put some more points on the board in the dying embers of this Betfred League One clash? It's been an absolute pleasure bringing you this game this afternoon right here on the Sportsman. We'll be confirming our next live game very shortly, so keep your eyes out across social media. Oh, there's a yellow card.
Yeah, he's got into this in the horizontal. I think it's probably a culmination of penalties, isn't it? The referee's just about had enough. It makes no odds, does it, with only a couple of minutes on the game clock, maybe 3 or 4 minutes left at maximum.
And Workington were in complete control of that tackle. He's gone for the legs and over-rotated. It's Kane Barnes who will finish this game slightly earlier than the rest of the players on the pitch. Workington Town will finish this game with 12 men. Can Dewsbury make the numbers count? Butterworth looks to go himself again. He's done that a few times this afternoon, hasn't quite managed to get himself over the line, and he's held up again. Ferguson, short crash ball to Davies.
Ferguson pulling off it, isn't he? He wants the ball, doesn't he, Big Dale?
It's an interesting approach going for the short balls when the numbers are there. Whiteley could be on for a hat-trick here. Still going. Brought down 5 metres or so away from the try line. So they come back on the inside. That's Ronan Dixon.
He was on for 2 tries, isn't he?
Well, the aggression that he carried for his first try, they'll be very wary of him now. Sykes is going to get the ball back.
It's good a place to
not played at.
Yeah.
I think that's the right decision from the referee. I don't think the Workington defender knew too much about that ball when it hit his foot.
Go.
And just ramping up defensively now and keeping them trapped. And Liam Finn will just want to see this game out, be disciplined and not give away anything.
2
Plenty of positives to take out of this game, as we've mentioned, for Workington.
100%. And plenty to work on too. I mean, you know, Anthony Murray will have his ideas, but they've been game, haven't they? They've stuck in there, committed, been in some intent in what they've done second half. There's unfortunate not to get further back into this game, only scoring the 6 points, but from there Dewsbury have taken over a little bit, and that's the challenge, isn't it, for Workington to reach this level of performance from the Rams.
They don't have the Betfred Challenge Cup to contend with after their exit last week. Next up for Workington Town is a trip to Birmingham to take on the Midlands Hurricanes. Dewsbury, opportunity to test themselves in a couple of weeks' time against Betfred Championship opposition. Widnes Vikings in the Challenge Cup. Dale Ferguson, plenty of experience at that level, of course. Still going, still rumbling away, gets the offload. I think the referee's going to pull it back. Said he was held.
Into the last minute or so here, aren't we? I know our clock's run over the 80 minutes, but
maybe one more opportunity. Sykes does well under some scrutiny. Restall bringing the ball into the line. There goes the hooter. So this is the last play of the game. And Restall just brought down. And Dewsbury Rams will be happy with their afternoon work. They've won 25 points to 6 here in Betfred League One. We said at the beginning of the game, Paul, it's a tough place to go.
Yeah.
This place, they've dealt with it very well.
Yeah, professional, haven't they? And against the win, they're taking 8-point advantage into the half-time interval, and then coming out, the couple of errors from Workington just put them behind the 8 ball, didn't it? And you know, the try scored just after half-time. And then the next one from Perry Whiteley's just taken the game away from them a little bit. And I know Sean Sabuti got one back, and it was a wonderful try. From there, they have a purple patch, maybe 10-12 minutes, Town, which was dealt with by Dewsbury defensively. And then they go down the other end and sucker punch them, and Dixon, wasn't it, who scored the try, which sealed the game, really.
And we mentioned the rebuilding process for Workington. There's a lot of young, local, community-based talent coming into this side. They'll be very pleased with their afternoon's work in some respects.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And as I said, it's the level that these Workington players have got to get to. There's some really experienced players that playing for Dewsbury, and their experience has taken them over that line, haven't they, really? Fantastic play from Dewsbury, but you know, give themselves a pat on the back, Workington Town, because there's a lot of players here that are playing at this level from the amateur game that have been picked from the amateur teams in and around Cumbria, which we all know is a really good place to play rugby league amateur.
Well, a fantastic 80 minutes, really enthralling from minute one in this Betfred League One clash. Let's remind ourselves of how this game unfolded. 25-6 in the favour of the Dewsbury Rams. Paul, you could just take us through what we've seen this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. And then here it was. First try is wonderful, isn't it? Turner onto Sykes. Really nice try, wasn't it, from Perry Whiteley to open the scoring. Super play, wasn't it, from the Rams to score the first try. Second one is a wonderful offload here from Carr, isn't it? It's a wonderful offload from Carr. That gives his Callum Jordan the opportunity to score. He unfortunately gets injured. Sykes just after the break puts one up. It's Connor Davis, isn't it, who's playing in the centre because of the injury to Jordan. Callum Jordan off. Great try, wasn't it, from Brad Graham, who got over the line. Butterworth at the line. This time Callum Turner's left foot kick, similar to Paul Sykes, gets it over the top of the winger. And it's Perry Whiteley with his second. This is every bit as good, isn't it? This time it's the right boot of the halfback, Jack Mallington, before Sean Sabuti gets over the top of Lewis Carr, and it's a great finish. And then it's just a power, isn't it, from Dixon. Dixon powers over the try line. Nice deception from the lead runner. Gets him a bit of space, and then the old head Paul Sykes gets his one-pointer that puts the game out of reach for the home team in Workington Town. It's been a real baptism of fire for them, and they're not going to play many teams better than this in Betfred League One, that is for certain. Dewsbury the benchmark, Dewsbury the team that are probably spending the most money, probably the ones that are favourites to go back up to the championship, and have come here and done a really professional job. They've got plenty of really old players in there that are experienced. You look at, you know, Dale Ferguson, Paul Sykes, Matt Garside, been around the championship for a heck of a long time in really good teams, and Greensmith on the right, on the left edge with Whiteley. They're a couple of big bodies that take some handling for all opposition. So they've come here, got a job done. It'll be a nice trip home for them, certainly. So let's hope that the Betfred League One campaign continues to give us as many good games as what we are getting with the top teams in the competition here on the Sportsman. It's fantastic to watch, and pretty sure Paul Sykes will be happy to get home limping away there and get on the bus. Liam Finn will be really pleased with his team that they've come here and got a result, and let's hope that it does continue to give us games like this. So we'll throw back down to Lewis, and he's got the man of the match.
We knew it was going to be tough coming up here. It always is with the bus travel, but I think probably the most complete performance we've had so far. It weren't pretty at times, but I think we sort of just stuck in there and grinded the game out. And I'm not going to bag Sykesy too much, but he missed 4 kicks. I think we probably should have blown him away a bit earlier with them conversions, but boys defended well on goal line, and yeah, tough performance. Always tough coming up here, so yeah, really pleased. Yeah.
You have to work hard in that second half, because once they got themselves on the scoreboard, they were banging the game. There was a spell of 10-15 minutes where you guys had to do a lot of defending. You must be really pleased with the way you stuck that out.
Yeah, no, defence were awesome today. Goal line, it did feel end at first half and the bits in the second half. It did feel like we defended out a goal line, but I don't think they really troubled us. I think they scored off the kick. Other than that, they didn't really trouble us. But yeah, we've worked hard all week on defence, and yeah, I think we've shown that we're going to be a pretty decent side this year, but we've just got to keep working week to week.
Well, congratulations, Perry. You are the Betfred player in the match. We'll let you get off and bring in your head coach. Liam, congratulations. A really tough 80 minutes, but you must be really pleased, 1 with the win and 2 with the manner of the performance.
Yeah, always pleased to win up here. I think Perry's just said how tough it is, and I said before the game, and it didn't disappoint, did it? Workington were dogged. They stuck in there. I thought when we went 18 points up, they were going to crumble a little bit, and they didn't, and that's testament to them and their coaching staff and the players for hanging in and forcing it and getting back to 18-6. From our side of things, yeah, we weren't exactly vintage most of the game, but competition-wise and digging in and staying in the battle, we were there all game, and we had to find a different way.
Start, of course, getting on the board with the first touch of, first possession of the football, but it wasn't really until those back-to-back tries in the second half that it looked like you were properly in control of the game.
Yeah, that's it. Early tries. Me and Chubbs were talking about it. They're a bit. They're difficult. You kind of want to score early, but it doesn't help you sometimes. At the same time, you don't want to concede early, and that can be a kick up the backside. And so yeah, we're a tricky one, because we look like we're going to open them up from minute 1. Because of that, I probably got a little bit complacent, and they forced it, and we forced it a little bit, and they stuck in there and made it a real grind. And obviously we had to do, I think, 4 or 5 sets on our try line defending for a period in that first half, just after our first try. So it tested our try line defensive resolve, and the lads kept them to 0 till half time. So it shows how hard they were working.
And Workington got their tails up after their try in the second half. 10-15 minutes where you're really under the pump. How important is the experience of the like of Dale Ferguson, Paul Sykes in those moments, just to keep things under control and keep things calm?
Yeah, that's massive. That's why them boys didn't play last week in the cup game, because we wanted them on the bus coming here this week. Fergie rolling back the years, playing in the back row today because of injuries, was outstanding. The man you've just interviewed, Perry, and Ollie Greensmith, their carries coming out of yardage were outstanding. Once they clicked into gear, obviously Workington found them big boys pretty hard to handle, and they probably got us over the line in the end, those 3.
Well, Ian, congratulations. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
That's all.
Cheers.
Well, fantastic afternoon of action in Betfred League One. Dewsbury Rams coming out on top in the end, but Paul, never a point where they looked over the line right up until the very last few minutes of the game, was there?
No, it was a really difficult game, and just speaking to Liam just as he left there, I mean, he's really pleased. They're a tough team to play, as he said. Just before he left there, tough team to play against, tough place to come and get a result. I think he was delighted with the scoreline. I think it probably flattered the visitors a little bit. So as you said, I don't think there was ever a point in that game where you thought Dewsbury are home and dry until Dixon scores, and then maybe Paul Sykes tags on that 1 point.
It's very early on in the season, but Dewsbury Rams look like they've got all the ingredients, don't they, of a side that can go on, win the league and get promotion back at the first time of asking.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're the benchmark. They're the team that everybody's got to catch and the standard that everybody's got to reach. And I think that'll be a really good learning curve. You know, only 2 games into the championship season for Workington. But that'll be a really good learning curve for their players and that they've plucked from the community game around here. So what they'll do from here is regroup and get better. And I'm certain as the season goes on that they'll be better for that result, as well as even though they didn't get over the line.
And for Workington, we've spoken about a lot of players coming through, a bit of a rebuild, loads for them to work on. The league table's not really taken shape yet. It's difficult to judge just how it's going to settle over the coming weeks and months, but plenty there to make them think they'll be all right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that whilst they'll be disappointed with today's result, I think they've shown some improvements, and there'll be plenty to work on for Anthony Murray. But there'll be lots of positives as well that he can pick out and show his team. There was there or thereabouts, wasn't there? And maybe a little bit of ill discipline here and there, and some drop ball when they desperately didn't need to do so. But yeah, it was a great game on Betfred League One on the Sportsman, and we look forward to the season getting better. I'm sure both teams will get better, and the home team will certainly get better for the result as well.
Well, we've got Anthony Murray standing by. We'll bring him in. Anthony, commiserations. A really tough afternoon for your side, but you must feel like a lot of positives to take out.
Yeah, we have our things up around the dressing room and that. And one of the things that we have in big bold letters that we never give up, and we didn't. We kept going right to the end. You know, a couple of decisions here and there didn't go in our favour, but then you've got to look after your own corner that little bit better. And I think sometimes, you know, in the area of the field where we didn't look after our corner as well as what we should. And good size punisher and fair play to Dewsbury. You know, they came here with a game plan. They executed it really well. They've got some, you know, experience there with Sykes. No matter how old you get, he's like a fine wine. He gets better. He gets better with age, and he picked us off a couple of times in some areas. So, you know, fair play. But I've just said to my boys in there, we roll our sleeves up. You know, we go again. You know, we've got a good measure of where we're at. We've played Doncaster, we've played Dewsbury, and for large parts of the game we were in it. And then, you know, Dewsbury just showed their experience, and you know, Matt scored when it mattered.
Well, best of luck next week in your game against the Midlands Hurricanes. That's all she wrote here on The Sportsman. A fantastic afternoon of Betfred League One action. As I mentioned earlier, we'll have details of our next live game very shortly. And of course, this Wednesday, as ever, 6 o'clock, you can join us for the last tackle. That's all from us here at Derwent Park. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you soon.